consolidation of an enormous amount of both monetary and political power into the hands of a few at the expense of literally every living thing on the planet. This is the end game for the New World Order. Again, it gives them godlike power. It gives them control over every natural system. So there are many important issues out there. We don't contest that. If we don't address this issue, we will not have a planet left, and that's how serious it is. But again, I like to encourage people not to address this in fear or anger, but address this in faith, realizing that, A, if we become educated about this and then reach out to our communities, people are ready for this message. We have and will get these programs stopped.
It's amazing and very timely. You know, other questions, though, you've asked what, you've asked why. Probably the next major question on that list is who. And so we have a lot of major clues about who the big corporate players are, the people who've been promoting geoengineering, people like White House science czar John P. Holdren. But what about the pilots themselves? Which planes, do we know anything more after years of investigating this about what types of planes are actually doing the spraying? Do the pilots on these planes know what they're involved in? Things like this, Michael Murphy.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's one that gets asked in just about every interview. There are many questions that still need to be answered, but we do know for sure everything that's showing up matches what geoengineering plans, geoengineering patents state that they want to do. There are a number of corporations and thus a number of different airplanes and a number of different corporations involved in these programs, and a number of corporations that benefit from this. The next film will be Who in the Hell is Spraying? But we have seen a number of military aircraft, KC-135s. There have been people who have contacted us stating, you know, there are some commercial aircraft, although I think the pilots, if there are commercial aircraft involved, I don't think the pilots have any knowledge of this. I would be very shocked to find out if any of them did. But I believe the military pilots are well aware of these programs. And one thing that Scott Stevens, former 20-year weatherman, pointed out, he had noticed in the long trails that do not break. We have sometimes when they spray, there are very short spray patterns. So we see short segments of a trail in the air, several of them. And then there are these very long trails that go on for hundreds of miles. And he noticed during the points where these areas might have some discontinuity in it, he noticed that another airplane would come directly at the point of that discontinuity and mark it. So some of these, the spraying of these particulates is to literally measure certain parts of the sky, and then they know when and where to pulse some of their technology, whether it's through the HARP system or scalar technology. But again, a number of military aircraft involved, and I believe the pilots are probably told that they're doing something, you know, that's very good and it's top secret, and the public would maybe freak out if they were told what was going on. And that was another reason for making the film. You know, it was really to reach out to our brothers and sisters in the military, and we believe that the quickest way to bring this program down is through the hearts of the people that are involved and think that they're doing something good. When they find out that, you know, maybe the reason their child has asthma, maybe the reason that their parents have Alzheimer's, because we've seen these rates go through the roof, and really the future implications. And when they find out this is not about protecting the planet, it's about bringing more power into the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, other globalists, you know, who are at the head of this sphere, into their hands. We believe that these programs will dissolve. So again, that's one of the reasons for the film. We encourage people, again, to purchase, order a film at the INFOWARS shop, duplicate the DVDs, and bring these to military bases, hand them out, bring them into public forums, because again, once people find out about this, we'll begin to see change.
And these questions are so interesting, particularly even people who are informed on it. Once you begin to find out what's going on here, you only have more questions because it's such a compelling issue. It's not something to sweep under the rug. We've got to get to the heart of this matter. So obviously, the biggest thing is turning the tide of public awareness, letting people know that what seems unbelievable, manipulating the weather, is very real, very much going on. But a related question, what do you see for people like Bill Gates? I use him as an example because I know the most about his specific ties. He owns stock in companies that do hurricane and weather control. He owns stock in the geoengineering and is giving grants for the research. At the same time, he owns shares of Monsanto, the very seeds that stand to gain from this. He's an example of someone, along with the Rockefellers, along with Monsanto, who own shares and have interest in the Arctic seed vaults, where they're preserving the original heirloom seeds and everything. Can we begin to address some of these people on conflicts of interest? Can we hold them to account criminally, or at least get some kind of official inquiry on why they have these obvious conflicting agendas and the harm that they obviously pose?
I think that's one of the many important steps that we need to take. And again, Bill Gates, we included him, his story in Why in the World Are They Spraying? Again, now it's public knowledge. We were unable to add that, include that in the first film, What in the World Are They Spraying? But now that it's public knowledge, yes, Bill Gates is funding David Keith, Ken Caldera, these other internationally recognized geoengineers. So through these programs that literally are sterilizing and destroying our soil, he is making money on the back end through his investment in Monsanto and the giant seed vault. I was just reading again about that this morning. The seed vault that these criminals have. Did I say criminals? Yeah, I did say criminals. Okay. Might have been a Freudian slip, but they are criminals that they have. That should tell us something of what their plans are. Monsanto has an agenda. They're very open about it. They want to own everything that grows. These programs will enable them to bring that into fruition. So through the death and destruction of natural systems, of our forests, of our crops, they have the ability to thrive, and it's only through death. So you look at, like, you look at a country like Africa. President Obama just opened up the door for Monsanto to go into Africa. If Africa has bumper crops, if they're growing with nature and growing and independent from their own food supply, why would they give up their natural seeds to Monsanto? So what they're doing, and again, geoengineers are selling these programs to the American public, saying, oh, it's not going to create droughts here in America. No, it's not going to affect you, but it might affect those people over in Africa. There's nothing special about the region here in America that's anything different than Africa and Asia. Geoengineering programs, because these particulates act as cloud condensation nuclei, they hold on to that moisture, and that moisture drifts instead of falling like rain. Again, geoengineers are very open about this. And if you look on the global drought monitor, you will see that much of the world, the majority of the world, is in severe drought. So again, a country that would have no reason to go to these genetically modified seeds unless things are dying. Things are dying. Another point that I wanted to make about this, and I call it aluminum brain, because sometimes I forget. There are documented cases now of people that have dementia in their 40s and even Alzheimer's in their 40s. Again, aluminum, which we're inhaling on a daily basis. And these particulates are nanoparticulates. We typically have a blood-brain barrier which will protect us from these types of particles getting to our brain, but they do get to our brain. So anyways, they are going into Africa, and many of these seeds are what's called terminator seeds. So typically a farmer would historically plant a crop. They would get their harvest at the end of the year and save seeds so that they could plant for the next planting season. Many of the seeds now that they're planting are, again, what are called terminator seeds. They do not regenerate. So what that does, it makes the farmer dependent year after year after year to Monsanto. And now studies are coming out that indicate that certain animals now, animal studies with GMO foods, are showing that they're, after 3 generations, there is sterilization. Again, looks like the state wants to be the source of life, and a number of other health implications and environmental implications.
Michael Murphy, that is a huge bombshell. The health risks have been known. People like Jeffrey N. Smith have analyzed the huge destruction from what is only now on the market, a handful of GMO crops. I mean, just by the way, they have more than 120 genetically modified seeds ready to go for fast-track approval. They've got the government bought off, and they show no signs of stopping. They are causing sterility, kind of a sleeper infertility that goes down the line. It's passed down. There's organ damage, all kinds of health effects just from the GMO seeds not being looked at, not being dealt with. In fact, research is being stifled, and that's just with a handful of genetically modified crops. They have more than 120 genetically modified crops ready to be brought on the market in the next 10, 15, 20 years. It's going to be fast-tracked approved. They've got all these governments bought out. They've owned the weather. They've tried to own the policies around the world, and they're pushing this on all of us. They're not going to stop. The implications could not be greater. That's why I really appreciate that you've made this film. It's been an activist effort. You've pooled your resources, gotten the experts to help you do the research, get this all on DVD. What in the world were they spraying was such a huge eye-opener for people who didn't even know what this issue was really about. So I'm so glad you've now made Why in the World Are They Spraying to really start to focus on the details of their agenda. Everybody has to watch this. We do have it at the InfoWarsShop.com. They're bundled in a discount, or you can get them individually. It's at InfoWars.com. But your closing comments, Michael J. Murphy.
Well, again, the film has been out for less than 2 weeks. It's had over 250,000 hits on the internet. It's available for free. But we encourage people who order a DVD and purchase a DVD to make copies and hand out for free, and that's a very effective way to get out into your community. When we initially started the film, never meant it to be the leading film. We always wanted to lead with the first film. The feedback that we're getting now is this has to be the leading film. We not only cover all the basics that we covered in the first film, we bring it a step further, and it's the next prudent step. There are a number of agendas associated with these programs, but again, based on the research, credible university scientists and professors that we included in the film, aerosols are required to be in our sky in order to impact the weather for these corporations to achieve their goal. And it's quite simple. We end the film with the statement made by former 20-year weatherman Scott Stevens: if you control the weather, you control the planet. It's that simple. So very excited to be working with Barry Kolsky. He was the editor on the first project that really brought in the professional touch. He has several hours of working on TV and other things here in Hollywood, so it was really excited to partner with him. And again, the film's been getting rave reviews, but please watch the film. Most importantly, become educated about this and bring this message out into the community. People used to look at people associated with these programs when you talked about it and said you're a kook. Not anymore. That age is over. The way that this has been outlined, it's been, again, a very effective tool for activism. So thanks again for covering this and partnering with us in getting this message out to the world. Really appreciate everything you're doing over there at InfoWars.
And likewise with you, we thank you for joining us. And obviously, public awareness is the key. We've got to get this information out. If we have to say that 3 or 4 times, it can't be said enough. So that's it for tonight's InfoWars Nightly News, but I hope you'll spread this program in general to everyone you know, but specifically this interview on geoengineering. What are these chemtrail phenomenons we've heard so much about? Well, the questions are asked and answered in these 2 companion films, and you heard him. He's working on other films as well. Again, the first one, more than a year and a half old. What in the world are they spraying? But the new one that you must see, that you must check out, and again, it's online for free, but in high-quality DVD, ready to hand out to people at InfoWars.com. Why? Why are they doing it? Why in the world are they spraying? Michael J. Murphy, thank you very much, and we'll be back again tomorrow on the InfoWars Nightly News. Don't forget about PrisonPlanet.tv and PlanetInfoWars.com. Good night.